We are going to get started right about now. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today. Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread. First card we are starting our day off with today. We love to see this energy. 10 of Wands. We are moving forward. We are doing the hard things today. We are doing the hard things first. We like seeing this. Listen, yesterday was more of that energy that we saw coming through over the weekend, especially for feminine. May have been a heavy need for self-care for feminine yesterday, just almost feeling a level or degree of not wanting to be seen, not wanting to be in open spaces or places. But we like seeing this energy because this is saying that for all the modalities right now, masculine or feminine, and bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. This is the feeling of getting to work. This is the feeling of getting that off the back. There could have been a moment right now that's kind of feeling like, okay, did that, now I need to get back to it. Again, we can do this, and this is what we appreciate about this. Remember what I was talking about with that feeling of overwhelm. What do we do when we're having feelings of overwhelm? We don't drop our burdens entirely. We give ourselves rest periods. And this is almost how masculine feminine is navigating some of the feeling that they've been experiencing over the last few days. The energy's been a little wild. This is almost that moment of saying, we're not going to worry about it. We're not going to deal with it. We're just going to get back to business. And this is what we really like to see. Masculine's probably going to love seeing this today from the feminine because the masculine's been a little bit more in this modality over the last few days, right? This is the masculine energy, I have to say, if we're going to fall into stereotypes right now, for the energy that's in partnership. Masculine's been taking a bit more of this approach as it relates to this feeling of overwhelm, which is characteristic of this idea of we work hard so we can play hard. Feminine, the problem with the feminine energy over the last few days is we work hard, we feel overwhelmed, we get on the couch, we hang out on the couch for as long as humanly possible, we close all the doors, we turn off all the lights, and then we just stay in that hidey hole for a bit, and then we go back to working hard. So this is the problem that we've been seeing with the masculine and feminine energy as it relates to that modality. But what we like to see about this is the fact that even for the energy right now that's in divine union and partnership, there is a feeling of being held. There's a feeling of recognizing that you're not necessarily carrying this burden entirely on your own. You're just carrying your portion on your own. And that's something that is eased by the sake of the partnership. Masculine and feminine energy and I will say for a lot of that energy, there's going to be a lot of getting back to business today. It's going to be feeling a lot of that focus and that concerted effort of just trying to push the ball forward, even if it's just a few inches. Just any kind of progress is going to be utilized now to help with that feeling of overwhelm that we've been experiencing and that I've been identifying as a bit of that eclipse hangover. Now, masculine and feminine energy that is trying to come into partnership. Remember what I said about yesterday being that make or break moment? Masculine and feminine energy that was working through a point. And I have to articulate that for a lot of the energy, we saw the blending of the timelines again, because we saw effectively that the masculine energy and feminine that was trying to come into partnership basically is now overlapped back into the energy that is in separation. And it is all about the decision point that is being reached right now in the masculine. It is that funhouse mirror that I was identifying that was happening in the masculine energy right now, because half of the masculine energy, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. The masculine energy right now is experiencing a moment that to come into partnership, there was a necessary disappointment that needed to effectively be breached. There was something about readjusting some of the outside energy to occupy a space of effectively allowing the feminine energy to be more of an observed priority in the life of the masculine. Feminine, trying to come into partnership with masculine, recognized that this needed to occur as well. Feminine was adopting a cynical wait and see approach to see if the masculine was going to take these motions, to see if the masculine energy was going to be good as to what they said. Half of the masculine energy is proceeding forward in this way. It's a hard job. It's a dirty job. It doesn't feel good to do because the masculine energy is recognizing that in order to move forward in a certain way, they have to effectively sever or end other things, or at least modify them in a way that they're not necessarily going to be the way that they were before. But again, for the energy that is in this modality, this is energy that feels like it is difficult, but you are valuing the fact that you are doing it for an energy that you're not thinking effectively twice on it. It's almost the reaffirming and the recommitment to this energy and saying, even potentially having to have a point of articulation with the feminine energy that is observing you doing this right now, that may be even expressing some feeling of sadness or even almost like a feeling of guilt, having to say to the feminine energy in this modality, don't think twice about it. I don't mind doing these things for you because I'm not doing them for you. I'm doing them for us. Guess what? That's the energy that is coming into divine union right now, because feminine is now recognizing that this is a masculine energy that can do hard things. They're not in the partnership just for the prize pack. They're not in the partnership just for the like the toy at the bottom of the cereal. They're in it for the hard things as well as the easy things. And that is the point of confirmation that feminine needed to see, that this is a masculine that is able to push forward in this capacity. Boom. Now that energy is probably going into divine union and partnership. They're going to start looking a lot more like that, because it's almost like this is the Rubicon that needed to be crossed to really show that the ability of partnership or divine union was there. The other part of the energy right now, I need to stress this, that was at this point, if this has not occurred, severing of the cycle. That's it. This is over. This is over, because what we're effectively seeing right now for the energy that reached this point as it relates to trying to come into partnership at this moment is, again, this is what we saw was almost that amplification of what was occurring between masculine and feminine, because this was a feminine energy that effectively had to call masculine to task to a certain degree. There was a point of observation in terms of masculine opening up to this feminine as they were about to leave, giving them the full expression of what was going on around them. This was then feminine and masculine mutually agreeing that while it's difficult that the masculine was not fully open and upright in the first place, that now the masculine's responsibility was to make some accommodations and changes for the sake of moving into partnership. Feminine, again, due to the fact that this is already under situations and circumstances that the feminine was feeling some level or degree of cynicism in, almost feeling like this is the least romantic way to move into partnership. This is a feminine that was watching a masculine in this modality being like, I don't know if you have the ability to do this. Masculine, if you moved out of separation from feminine, if you moved off to do this and you felt that point of vacillation and you stopped and there was a feminine that was already doubting that you would be able to do this, this is the confirmation, if you did not do it, that the feminine is now saying to themselves that they don't believe you have it in you, because this is not a moment. We're also seeing here that this is also creating the impossible situation for feminine, where, and again, they already feel the frustration that you're not doing this willingly. You're almost doing it out of a sense of duress. And this is a moment that we are seeing that this is almost potentially, again, much as I identified yesterday, potentially a lot of blockages effectively occurring, a lot of closing out of cycles. This is almost that moment of masculine, of feminine just saying, I'm moving on. I'm moving on, not looking back. This is a feminine almost saying what they saw yesterday. They're like, I can't unsee it. You've shown me everything I needed to see. I effectively told you what I thought you would do. You have effectively done exactly what I thought you would do. Masculine in this modality right now, if you did not do those things, you're potentially moving away from the feminine, almost from a state or space that could be feeling like a little bit of inability to communicate. Because you don't want to communicate with this energy, because effectively the energy, you've proven, you know that in communicating with them, you've effectively proven them right. That whatever you would communicate to them right now, your own hesitancy, your own limitation in doing those things is almost just you effectively going to the feminine right now and fulfilling the prophecy of the feminine in terms of how you would react. So again, this is either a masculine that is doing these things willingly right now, or recognizing that they can't, but then also having the healing almost instantaneously come in as you identify and recognize that this isn't almost something that you're just doing autonomously. It's effectively almost a moment that an energy around you predicted your own pattern or behavior. So you're leaving something, recognizing that this is something that you've done before, that this is something that feels familiar. And not just the fact that you feel familiar, it's something that you can see now that you can effectively unsee. Your eyes have been opened on your own pattern here. And this is a moment that is really amplifying, even if you're moving away from an energy right now, what you're moving away from, what you intend to do with that. For some of the masculine energy right now, this is almost a point of observation that something gave you this point of education, but truly your heart wasn't really in it. While for another part of the masculine energy right now, this is effectively you now recognizing a lesson that an old past connection was trying to teach you. You're effectively even identifying and experiencing this now. It's not just the weight of having experienced this now for the first time. This is a reverberation effect that's occurring. This is like a lesson that is now hitting every domino down the line, especially if this is a repeated pattern that you're working on healing. And this is now a moment of effectively recognizing the pattern that is going to help you adjust and evolve as you proceed forward from this point. And that procession is either proceeding you forward into new opportunities, new possibilities, or it is leading you back to an energy that you now see, that you now recognize this with, that you hope to make these accommodations in now, because now you know how to correct for something that you did not know how to correct before. Second card in our 5-card spread for today is 2 of Wands. Okay, nobody could talk yesterday. Today everybody wants to talk. Today everybody's blah, blah, blahing it. Is that it? That's fine. That's okay. It comes in waves. Now we've got communication happening. That's fine. Nobody wanted to say anything yesterday, or the things you were saying were not being communicated effectively. I even warned a lot of energy to make sure that you were thinking before you spoke. I really stressed that fire signs yesterday really need to watch their words, okay? Today, we see that everything is moving back into like a productive vibration. There's going to be a feeling right now, again, masculine and feminine energy in partnership. This is almost that feeling of like water under the bridge. This is why the partnerships operate so effectively, which is, again, it's not the fact that there hasn't been a rough few days for the masculine and feminine energy in partnership right now, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. It's a point in partnership that you're like, that's what the job is, baby. There's going to be hard days. There's going to be easy days. There's going to be days that totally suck. There's going to be days that are the best days of our lives. This is masculine and feminine basically saying it's not what happens on a day-to-day, because the masculine and feminine are recognizing that this is a game of inches, that this is the culmination, that what they're trying to do isn't based on the activities or the actions of a single day. It is the culmination of what direction something is moving in. And that's a moment that is allowing for a little bit more patience, a little bit more flexibility with each other, because you recognize that it is not necessarily what happens moment by moment, but more the sum, the cumulative experience that needs to be taken into accountability. And that is built on healthy communication. So we see here productivity, communication happening right now in the divine unions and partnerships, both between each other, potentially coming into that space of being able to like push forward beyond any of the hiccups that may have been hit over the last few days. Masculine and feminine energy that is working towards partnership right now. You're going to feel a lot of this same energy right now. Why? Because we saw that a lot of energy moved into partnership over the last few days. This is also a moment where masculine may be feeling right now. Feminine could be saying to masculine, I feel bad that you had to do those things. What is masculine saying to feminine? It's not about the small things we have to do for each other. It's looking at the bigger picture. This is a masculine and a feminine who, again, it's not that you're both having to do hard things for each other. It is, again, much like the partnered energies. You are looking at the bigger picture. You are moving forward. You are feeling like you are pushing, you are carrying this weight together. And it's more about active communication in terms of saying, now that the hard thing's been done, where do we go from here? Could be a lot of planning today. Could be a lot of discussions on plans, especially for the energy whose partnerships just deepened in this way. The other part of the collective right now, this is almost instantaneous moving back into separation. That energy, again, this was either a moment that someone did the thing that was hard or they didn't. This could be a lot of communication that's potentially happening right now between masculine and feminine. If feminine did not get validation from masculine, there's almost a point that feminine potentially realizes right now, where feminine is almost telling themselves, if the masculine didn't tell me that they did these things, feminine almost knows that they weren't done. This is almost a commitment to the feminine saying to themselves, if they did it, they would tell me about it. That's why we're almost seeing a feminine energy right now that's almost moving into separation, having had a very groundbreaking conversation with a masculine, and that masculine just vanished. And feminine is now almost vanishing as well. Feminine is almost vanishing as well, because this is a feminine saying, if they did it, they would have told me. This is almost the feminine recognizing. This is the feminine coming almost into that high priestess energy and being like, I know exactly why they're not communicating. Because that's feminine's leading their own conclusions and saying, they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. This could even be a feminine energy potentially in separation that's realizing this right now, potentially composing some kind of like farewell messages to some masculine energy saying, I know you couldn't do it. Masculine energy that is in separation right now. This is that moment that you yourself might be trying to communicate this, but it's just really hard because this, and again, if you didn't do these things, you're kind of realizing and recognizing, you may even been trying to say to the feminine, you may be trying to put obligations in front of this. This could even be a masculine that's trying to like potentially say to the feminine right now, trying to like bring up a lot of outside obligations that are demanding their time, effort, and energy. Because effectively facing that hard conversation of admitting to the feminine that what they effectively thought would happen is happening is almost too difficult to communicate. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Center card in our 5-card spread is, this is either going to go one of two different ways today, guys. You see what I'm saying? This is either going to be a feeling right now of healing, of catharsis, or it's going to be a point of closure. Masculine and feminine energy in partnership right now. This is just a moment. What did I say? This is the moment of operating in a space or place of everything I just said. Masculine and feminine partnership are like, there's going to be good days. There's going to be hard days. There's going to be good days. It's going to be hard days. It's not about the hard days. It's making sure that the hard days don't outweigh the productive days. That's effectively what the communication is occurring right now in the partnerships, which is, again, let's look at what happened during the bad time or the hard thing so that we can move more productive in the future to try to avoid those things. That's the beauty of the partnership. There potentially could be a lot of conversation today in divine union and partnership to effectively identify the difference between spaces and places that feel like they're productive versus things that are creating any of these points of frustration or upset that need to be navigated. Masculine and feminine right now that is moving into partnership, this is probably going to feel like a lot of the same conversation. Because again, this is almost feeling like there has to be a conversation right now in partnership, or the energy that's just coming into divine partnership. That's almost saying like, listen, I'm not sad about having to disappoint some energy around us to be able to move forward in this way. It's almost a point of recognition. There's almost like that ascension, like that understanding and saying it is an impossible situation to be able to like move forward in partnership right now, because it's a moment of recognizing that the only way to move into a deepening commitment at this time is to effectively have to disappoint some people. It's creating some points right now that need to be navigated. But again, it's more of, again, that point of affirmation and confirmation to each other saying, this isn't going to happen again, right? We're going to do everything we can to avoid this happening again. Does this sound familiar? I just said it because it's the energy that's already in partnership. It's just a little bit of a different conversation. It's going to be a little bit more serious about what to change going forward, because that's a moment, if you're coming into partnership right now, the bad right now is outweighing the good because you're just heading down this path. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is in separation. This is that bad outweighing the good now. This is that moment again, and this is why it was so important for the feminine to see the fact that the masculine could effectively engage, take that point of activity on what they effectively verbalize to the feminine at this time. Because this is almost a feminine energy saying, what you said you would do versus what you're doing are two completely different things. And this is a feminine potentially even articulating that. If there is any communication right now to a masculine, this is almost a feminine saying to a certain extent to the masculine, I don't think you have the ability to do it. I don't think you have the ability to change. I don't think you have the ability. The desire might be there, but I'm not seeing the actual ability to do so. And this could be a feminine that, again, is immediately moving back into the separation cycle and saying, I need to go elsewhere because I don't see the possibility of a long-term positive manifestation goal with you because of this ability, this refusal to adapt or change for the sake of the partnership. The ability to do hard things from a point of recognizing what's in the best interest of the partnership versus what is in best interest of the self is effectively becoming the make and break point right now between the partnerships coming into divine union or moving back into separation. Masculine, this could be a moment right now that you're breaking away from an energy that feels like it could have had that partnership potentiality. And the way you're effectively affirming this to yourself is you're telling yourself that this is a moment that you're recognizing that that long-term path that it was heading you on was not necessarily the one that you desired. That something seeing about where that was going or what that would look like did not look like it was going to match that long-term goal that you yourself were aspiring for. The problem with this is this could be a masculine that may even be having a hard time articulating this to the feminine, because this is almost a masculine that would be forced to say to a feminine right now, like, what you want in the long term is not what I want in the long term. And this is the masculine, but again, and this is what's valuable right now for the masculine energy and separation at this point that's doing this, you're learning this lesson so heavily as this is happening that we pointed out, masculine energy and separation, this really made you face what your heart's desire was. We see that you're almost immediately moving from this point and you're not resting on your laurels. You're putting in that effort. You are now committed to that direction of what is that long-term future goal, that path that you feel really is your destiny. We almost see that this is a moment that you're abandoning one path to be able to find that path that you feel is truly in alignment to what you think is in connection to that long-term manifestation goal. Fourth card in our 5-card spread for today is, whoa, High Priestess in its reversal. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now that is in partnership. This is more of that continuation that we saw yesterday, okay? For masculine and feminine energy that's in partnership right now, this is the support that the partnership is providing. What did we see that was occurring right now for some of the energy in partnership right now? We effectively identified that feminine energy was kind of going through a moment yesterday where self-care was really key. Feminine was even we even identified that one of the difficulties that the feminine energy was having that was so nuanced yesterday in divine partnership and divine union was identifying the difference, asking oneself, how does one stay and remain in their most authentic expression of self without creating too many paths of disruption in the energy around you as you try to navigate the difference between expressing how you feel versus anything that may create a point of frustration for that energy. This is almost a feminine energy that's still trying to work through that right now. There's something about the feminine feeling a little bit off in that way, but we see that the feminine energy is working through that by recalibrating and focusing on the tangible steps that they need to take going forward from this point. This is giving a lot of energy for feminine energy in partnership or union right now. This is going to feel a little bit like one step in front of the other. Being able to do that right now is really important because this is almost a feminine energy that recognizes that the problem that the feminine energy experiences are those moments where they are their harshest critic, are those moments where they fall into points of self-doubt. In this point of feminine energy, realizing that they have a tendency of being too hard on themselves. And it's that point where they're too hard on themselves, it's actually a bit of the difficulty or hurdle, because when they're too hard on themselves, it actually bleeds out on the energy around them. This is what's beautiful right now for the partnered energies, is almost the masculine helping the feminine recognize their own ability in being too hard on themselves. Almost telling the feminine energy, it's okay to be in spaces and states of easement. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to recalibrate. You just need to recognize when you're not, and then everything else can continue as it needs to. Masculine and feminine are giving each other this level of support today, which is why the partnered energies are kind of allowing this to be more of a thing that feels like a bit of a drop in the bucket, as opposed to like something that feels so much like more earth-shattering for something around the energy that isn't in partnership right now. Now, for masculine and feminine energy that was trying to come into partnership, and I'm going to say trying because, again, we almost see that pathway right now is pretty much gone in a way, right? Because what we're effectively seeing is this is either the energy that was in partnership, feminine, seeing, watching the masculine energy in real time do these difficult things, make these difficult changes. And it's hard because you're almost seeing now, because you're on the side of the masculine with this, the fact that you're also experiencing any of those disruptions that are potentially occurring as you do this right now. This is effectively almost the feminine energy feeling doubt in their own self, because again, this was a feminine that even yesterday was trying to say to the masculine, I don't like seeing you be in this space or place where you have to do these things. And masculine saying, I recognize that they need to be done. You know, like the feminine, again, we almost identified the feeling yesterday as feminine that saw the masculine having to take these steps of disappointing some energy around them right now and being like, I feel like I'm the bad guy here. I feel like it feels like I'm the bad guy. And this is almost a masculine trying to reassure the feminine, much like we see with the masculine in partnership right now, trying to effectively identify and tell the feminine in partnership that they have a typical tendency of being too hard on themselves. The masculine right now, you see how these energies are coming into partnership, is saying to the feminine, you're not the bad guy here. Don't view it like that. You're being too hard on yourself. I'm glad I'm willing to take these steps so that we can move into deeper union. Congratulations. You guys are now on the same path as the divine union partnership energy. Now, masculine energy that is not showing this ability, masculine energy that had difficult conversations with feminine, masculine energy that effectively even opened up to the feminine, showed them all the optics to their own life, maybe potentially even had a mutual conversation with feminine saying, you know what you need to do now, you need to do X, Y, and Z. This is a feminine energy. If they're not seeing this, then this is a feminine energy that's closing out the cycle. Just closing it out. They're just done. This is a feminine energy that's saying, I'm done. Because this is a feminine energy that not only are they not seeing the masculine taking the steps to make those modifications, this is almost potentially even a masculine energy that they see as trying to like avoid talking about it. That's gone silent, that's moving away from the feminine. And this is the feminine energy that's almost now feeling that point of double frustration. And where is the feminine putting that frustration? On themselves. Much like the other two modalities of feminine, this is a feminine saying, I blame myself. I blame myself. I should have trusted my instincts. I should have trusted what I knew was going to happen. Why? Because this is a feminine energy that was already experiencing cynicism as to whether this masculine would be able to change. They're not seeing the change. Feminine energy is also still being too hard on themselves as they move now into separation, saying, I knew they wouldn't be able to do this. I was right. And now they don't want to admit to me that I'm right. This is the feminine being like, the only part of this that the feminine's kicking themselves. I have to point out, the feminine right here isn't holding themselves like this because they don't feel like they were correct here. They're feeling like this because they know, they can see that the masculine's now doing what they told them that they would do. And they're frustrated that they put their trust in the masculine in the first place. There was a leap of faith that was required here. And this is the feminine energy saying, I knew it. Masculine, if you either moved into partnership, great, you're on the partnership cycle. If you're in separation, this is effectively why you're potentially moving away from this energy right now. Because this is a moment that you're looking at something right now and saying, she was right. It's not that you're not moving away from this energy in the sense or the space of recognizing that this is a pattern for yourself. You're willing to have that point of observation is what we're seeing. You just don't want to tell her that. You don't want to tell her that because it almost feels like you can recognize how painful that conversation would be. You know? It would be like having to tell them, yeah, you know what? Everything you said about me was true. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. It's not form. You know what I mean? It's that moment, and it feels like difficult, doubly difficult, because this is almost a point with the masculine where it's like, I can't say that to her. I can't tell her that. How can I tell her that after I told her I would do these things? And so instead, this is either a masculine energy that's trying to find some other way to communicate to this feminine about anything else, almost potentially even putting some obligations here. This could be a masculine that suddenly has some kind of like obligation pop up that's like demanding their attention. But really what we're seeing here is this is a masculine that if it's staying in separation is effectively doesn't know what to say. It's like literally like they want to say something, they don't know what to say, because they almost see here that there's almost nothing they can say, that the feminine energy, there's like no way that it's not going to be, the feminine energy is going to see what's happening. Fifth card in our fight, but again, this is a masculine energy that is trying to affirm to themselves that the reason that they're doing this is because it's not the fact that the feminine energy wasn't right in this regard. It's not the fact that the masculine hasn't learned something from this feminine. It's the observation of the long-term path with that feminine. That again, we're seeing that the masculine energy still in separation doesn't effectively have their heart in. And this is why the masculine isn't communicating on that, because that is an impossible conversation to have. So this is, again, a masculine energy that's actually moving with a lot of conviction now based on what they learned from this energy towards what they truly desire right now. That's, again, either in the future or in the past. Fifth card in our 5-card spread for today is communication like crazy today. I'm also seeing travel like crazy. A lot of travel, a lot of communication, masculine and feminine energy right now. One of the things that we're effectively seeing that's like almost like goading the masculine and feminine energy on right now is simply the fact that you got stuff to do. We may have seen, like I will point out, we did see that for a lot of the feminine energy, there was that pushing back on some kind of obligations over the last few days. There could be a moment right now where the feminine realizes that whatever they've been pushing off because of like where they found themselves can't be pushed off right now. They just need to kind of get cracking. They need to get to work right now. Feminine's keeping that focus very much on those goals to help them through these moments of self-doubt that they're feeling. Masculine, you're seeing the feminine in this modality right now, and you're doing everything you can to try to continue to support the energy in this. This is, again, almost a masculine having to say to a feminine right now that it's okay not to be perfect, that the job isn't to be perfect. The job is just to do the best that we can every day. And this is the feminine that they recognize potentially in partnership has this ability to be very overly judgmental on themselves, to question themselves, to doubt themselves. Masculine's trying to help in that way as well by articulating and communicating heavily with that feminine right now about all of the progress that they've made and almost utilizing that as a point of helping validate this energy to get them back into a space of motivation. Masculine and feminine trying to come into partnership right now. You're doing the exact same thing, masculine. Again, you just had to do something that was very hard for this feminine. Feminine is feeling bad that you had to do something very hard for them. They're almost feeling that point of, again, being overly judgmental on themselves. You're seeing it as overly judgmental. This is a moment that we're seeing that you are doing the same exact thing of the masculine that's been in partnership, which is affirming to the feminine their own ability of being too judgmental on themselves and saying, this is not something I did for you. This is something I did for us. Masculine and feminine that is in separation. Feminine, you did not see the masculine take this point of action. You didn't see the feminine and masculine do this. This could even be feeling right now. This could even be feeling right now almost like a masculine that may be either, again, traveling right now, like making travel plans, or communicating to you about everything but those things that you said that they said they would do. It's like all this kind, I'm getting here like all of these words. And I have to stress right now that I need to warn some of the feminine energy right now in this modality, that if the masculine energy is in this space or place, this may even be feeling like a bit of reactivity right now. Because this could be feeling right now that there's not the fact that there's not communication. It's almost like someone who's like throwing communication at you, but it's not about what you want to communicate on, right? This is almost a masculine energy that's trying to give a lot of outside excuses, outside reasons why something isn't coming together, instead of getting to the heart of it, which is, I can't do those things that we spoke about. So I need to stress right now for some of the feminine energy, making sure to try to stay on course with this, making sure that there's a point of alignment in terms of identifying what was discussed, what you guys agreed to versus what is being communicated to you right now. There may be a need right here for some of the feminine energy. This could even be a moment that's breaking away because the feminine energy is feeling to a certain extent like the masculine, if they tried to ask him on this, would come up with a lot of excuses or potentially try to blame the feminine in this modality, that there's reasons why they're not doing it, right? And this is almost this moment that we continue to see that this is a point of feminine saying, I'm moving on from this, because this is almost starting to hit a moment for some of the feminine energy in this modality that feels like it's starting to get what could be identified as potentially toxic. Because while there may be communication happening right now, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's productive and leading to that long-term positivity point. It almost just seems to be amplifying all the reasons someone has about them not doing something and why they're walking away from someone, instead of facing the deeper truth in the fact that something that the feminine said was accurate. The other part of the feminine energy right now, this could be a moment of feeling someone who's either not communicating or putting up a lot of walls right now. But overall, what we're really seeing right now for the masculine and separation is there's a moment of having this point of, and it's going to feel like a little bit of an overwhelming experience. And I want to make sure the masculine energy that's experiencing this right now, make sure to try to embody and utilize this in a positive, healthy, healing, productive way, which is simply potentially the recognition of an energy that was able to effectively recognize a pattern in you that you are now fulfilling, but also recognize that one of the underarching things that's happening right now is potentially the fact that there's something here that is ultimately leading you towards a long-term manifestation goal that you are either not ready for or that you don't ultimately seek and desire. That is effectively what's at the heart of this matter right now as it relates to any energy that's moving into separation voluntarily right now. And that should be what is being communicated to the feminine, not some kind of like smoke and mirrors game about something being other than it is. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 10 of Wands in combination with our 2 of Wands. May I please have one card to clarify? 2 cards coming out to clarify. We have here our 6 of Wands in combination with our Knight of Wands. All of the wands yesterday, were in reverse. Today, they're all in their upright. What are we seeing here? What are we effectively seeing? Everything is moving back into a point of positivity and productivity, okay? What we're effectively seeing is the fact that for masculine and feminine energy in partnership right now, this is that point. This is water under the bridge. This is that beautiful beauty. This is why we love the partnership so much. This is the water under the bridge. This is, again, a moment that that there's an observation of the partnerships being able to go through points of difficulty, because overall the points of positivity outweigh those moments. The doubts, the fears that the feminine's having right now, the masculine's almost trying to re-encourage and amplify the feminine and showing the feminine. This is almost the masculine having to give the feminine energy a pep talk right now in partnership and saying, like, you're too hard on yourself. You're too hard on yourself. You're too hard on yourself on how much you've been doing, what we've been able to what victories we've had. Everything about you, it's almost like the masculine having to amplify, raise the feminine up right now in partnership, because the feminine's been going through so much of this self-doubt. It's a masculine saying, don't you see? Can't you recognize how amazing the work that we're doing right now is, how we are pushing things forward? It's more the masculine having to help the feminine recognize it's not going to be a moment where everything is perfect. It's always going to feel, it's almost the masculine having to articulate to the feminine saying, it's always going to feel like an upward battle. It's how we carry that energy day to day that is going to really identify and articulate whether that's a joyous experience or whether that feels like a heavy burden. There's almost a masculine helping the feminine here in a big degree. Feminine, you could be experiencing this from your masculine right now in partnership. And this is what is furthering your own sense of confidence right now, because you're seeing the fact of a masculine that really recognizes the value of what you're doing and wants to see you succeed, because they're recognizing that your success is your success. Like your, as in the plural your. It's both of your successes. Masculine and feminine energy that's moving into partnership right now, you're in the same exact boat. Feminine, you're seeing this. Feminine's feeling a point of self-doubt. Masculine just had to do some hard things for feminine. Masculine saying, don't worry about it. Masculine saying, I would do those hard things gladly, because again, what we're creating is the victory. This is masculine almost saying to feminine, don't be mad about it. I'm not mad about it. I'm feeling really glad about this right now. Masculine and feminine in separation right now, this is going to feel very different, because again, this is a moment of the feminine looking towards masculine, and it's feeling bittersweet, because this is almost the feminine energy feeling the security in recognizing to a certain extent that something that they predicted about masculine, if this is that point of that short-term energy moving back into separation right now, this is that energy effectively looking at something and saying, I was right. I was right. I called this. I knew that this was going to happen. While for the new energy, I need to stress this, for energy that's been in separation right now for a while, this is actually feeling for feminine right now. This isn't feeling as devastating as it would be, because we're almost seeing here the fact that the feminine energy that is in separation. What did I tell you guys about the fact that feminine is learning how to cycle through these karmic energies more quickly? This is a feminine energy that's almost saying, again, this is the second washing of the hands. This is feminine saying, I'm not letting myself dwell on this. I'm moving forward on new opportunities, because there's something about the fact that the feminine energy, this is a feminine energy that was already feeling the weight of something that might not come together. This is already a feminine energy that recognizes to a certain extent that there's something that they've already walked away from. Masculine just validated to them a second time. And this is, again, more of that energy of feminine opening themselves up to new opportunities and new experiences almost immediately. Being like, that chapter's closed, I'm ready to move forward. Feminine's because there's something about this where feminine is focusing right now on new energy that is around them, that they are already potentially, if they haven't met this energy yet, they feel like it's very close. They feel like this opportunity for new victory is very much on the horizon for them. Masculine that is in separation right now, you are also at a moment where you are potentially closing a chapter. But again, what's happening right now about closing this chapter is it is a very difficult one, but it's almost helping you recognize and understand something about your own self right now. It's not the fact that you're moving away from an energy right now that wasn't correct about some things. It's just the fact that your own heart wasn't necessarily connected to that energy enough to be able to move towards that long-term manifestation goal with them. We see here that something about what was imparted to you in that journey is now something that you're almost a moving away from very quickly. knowing where you want to put this energy. This is almost an energy, again, if there's energy in separation right now, it's almost moving with a lot of conviction and certainty towards a direction that you feel that your success is in. Because I need to stress, for a lot of the masculine energy right now, this was an opportunity that may have felt perfect. Like it required you really, if you did not move towards it right now, to have really asked yourself what it is that you're truly seeking. And now it's like the only vibration of positivity here is you think you've landed upon the answer. And you're utilizing that as your motivating factor as you start to move back, into what feels like the direction of your positivity, of that place or space that you feel your victory lies in, which again is either that movement into the future right now, carrying that lesson or that burden, or back into the past to collect something that you feel like you lost in the past. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 2 of Wands in combination with our 10 of Cups in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? 9 of Cups in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is in partnership. This is the only thing. It's still dealing with some of this energy of overwhelm. The problem with masculine and feminine right now in partnership is the point of recognizing to a certain extent that there just isn't enough. There isn't enough time in the day. There isn't enough hours in the day. It's feeling like you have to be much more selective. It's coming through at a point right now in terms of really asking oneself. Again, we are trying to navigate spaces and places of overwhelm, specifically for the feminine right now. There could be a lot of conversation happening right now about masculine and feminine needing to really assess where they need to pull their energy back on so that they can fully feel that sense of being able to appreciate everything that you're creating for yourself at this moment. Because the problem we're seeing right now is almost the fact that the feminine's moving into a space where they're working so hard that there's no room for the feminine to kind of ease up or enjoy the fruits of their labors. Masculine, you may be trying to amplify this to the feminine right now. You could even be trying to lay some plans in place right now with feminine that's going to allow that opportunity of the feminine to have some periods of downtime, to have some periods of easement. Because for the masculine, it's almost trying to say to the feminine, that long-term future goal, almost like saying to the feminine, that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, the goal isn't to try to get there, it's just to try to create it here, right? That's what the masculine's trying to help the feminine recognize at this time. Feminine, you may be feeling this, but again, you're almost at a place where the feminine's trying to recalibrate from some sense of self that needs to be improved upon to be able to better manifest that into the present reality and the present experience. Masculine and feminine energy that are trying to come into partnership. This is effectively the same exact conversation that's happening, though masculine, this is potentially going to feel more like one that you yourself are embodying right now, because again, it is that moment that you're recognizing that you may have potentially spread yourself too thin, right? This is that point of recognition that, again, in order to be able to build that long-term future goal with an energy right now, you need to kind of consolidate your energy towards it at this time. And again, so for the masculine right now that's moving into partnership, it's feeling less now like a point of disappointing the energy and more about recalling your energy so that you can put it into the spaces and places that need it most right now, because you're effectively seeing that there is a feminine energy right now that you're trying to move into union with that is feeling a lot of doubts and anxieties about that union. That's a masculine energy saying, I'm glad, I'm happy to do this. I'm glad to do this because I know and recognize that I need to take away from what's out external to the partnership to be able to put back into the partnership to make sure that that long-term path is clear. Feminine, you are seeing this right now from a masculine energy. And while it may be feeling a little bit difficult for you to see the masculine doing this in this capacity, it's also affirming to you the fact that this is a masculine that has indeed changed, that has indeed learned these lessons, that realizes and recognizes the fact that they prioritize what you're building with them over what they may have outside the partnership. And that, in a sense, is the validation for the feminine that there is something that can now move into divine union and partnership. For the other part of the energy right now, this is a moment that we're effectively seeing that for masculine and feminine, there's potentially an observation of someone who is not effectively risen to the challenge. This is why the feminine is almost not wasting any breath waiting for this energy right now, but is effectively immediately opening themselves up to new opportunities, to new experiences, potentially even making plans, like almost immediate plans with new masculine energy. Because this is a feminine that is effectively like identifying or saying to a certain extent, this energy is showing in some way, shape, or form that they don't have that ability, that they're not going to choose the partnership, that they're not willing to come into those spaces and places of changes. And this is a feminine saying, it's over. That's done. We're done. We can't do that anymore. Like, that's just the moment that they're just like, we can't. And so the feminine's, again, just moving forward, continuing forward on their journey, not allowing this to become a hurdle, because it's almost a moment right now of saying, this is no longer something that I'm going to put my time and energy in, because it's not leading to the long-term manifestation goal that I'm trying to create. It's not creating that future that I'm ideally desiring. That's all the feminine seeing it as now, a blocker. And the only thing that they're blaming themselves on right now is not trusting their own intuition and giving this energy a second, third, fourth chance right now, and feeling like the energy itself has kind of effectively proven them right in terms of what they thought would occur. Masculine, if you're in separation right now, this is feeling like an impossible conversation to have. This is feeling right now to a certain extent that this is a point that is effectively requiring you to a certain extent to have to go into a space or state in terms of recognizing the fact that there's something here that the feminine was effectively right on to a certain extent. This is a feminine energy that it's the weight of what's occurring right now is the fact that you realize that the feminine almost predicted that this was how you were going to react. And what's valuable about this right now is, again, it's a moment of masculine. You are healing as you go. You are seeing your own pattern in this. There's something here about your own pattern, something that is repeating itself that is almost undeniable. But you're also recognizing right now that you're moving away from something, because ultimately, and this is why I think making sure that you're not necessarily trying to divert the conversation is valuable. There's something here about really amplifying what it is that you truly seek in the long term versus what you want to put your time and energy into. This for the masculine, if you're still in separation right now, is the journey, because it's almost making you really face and ask yourself what it is that you truly want. Because something about it right now, while you see the opportunity is there, you recognize your own hesitancy is only within the self, because it's something internally that's saying it's not that. And that's why we see the masculine moving with so much urgency right now away from something and towards something they feel they actually identify as the thing that they're truly seeking. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 10 of Cups in its reversal and our High Priestess in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? We love to see this card in its reversal. We've got the Devil card in its reversal flying out of the deck. Healing is coming. What did I say? The healing is coming regardless of where you are on this cycle. Regardless of where you are on this pattern, we are seeing that this is a healing journey. We love to see that. We love to see that. Okay? Masculine and feminine energy that is in partnership. This is the masculine energy that is working right now in helping the feminine energy find their confidence for the sake of the partnership itself. This is almost the masculine energy looking at the feminine and saying, the only problem we have here is when you doubt yourself. The only problem we have here is when you question yourself. The only problem we have here is when you second guess yourself. And when you second guess your own what we have. And it's feminine, masculine almost saying to the feminine, we need you to be able to move into that space or place. We need you to realize your own power. We need you to recognize your own value. Don't question yourself, because I don't question you, because this is how we're healing. And almost the masculine saying to the feminine, you heal me every day And I need you to appreciate what you contribute and what you bring to this. Feminine, you may be seeing this right now. Again, it's not the fact that things aren't perfect, or it's not the fact that you don't put a lot of like weight on yourself or a lot of responsibility. It's almost the point of recognition right now, feminine, of not being so hard on yourself. That is the healing journey for the feminine, is coming out of that modality of feeling that ever-present sense of crisis or feeling some point of not feeling good enough, but instead almost coming into a space and recognizing that you are on a healing journey. And that when you are on a healing journey, it's okay to have moments of doubt. You almost need, the feminine needs to almost like give themselves a script right now to tell themselves when they start to feel that anxiety of the future, when they start to feel their doubt in their own abilities, to just say, every day I'm doing better. Every day I'm healing. Every day I'm moving in the direction of healing. And that healing is what is bringing the feminine energy into coming out of some of this funk that we've seen that they've been experiencing over the last few days. Masculine is effectively helping this right now by basically like being feminine energy's cheerleader to a certain extent in partnership right now. Because masculine is feeling the impact of when the feminine energy is low, everybody's low, right? It's almost like masculine being like, you have no idea how valuable or important your own energy is and how it really affects everybody around you. Like that's almost what the masculine's really trying to say to the feminine, but he doesn't want to say that to the feminine because he doesn't want to like make the feminine feel bad for feeling bad. Because if the masculine says to the feminine, like when you're low, it makes everybody low, masculine realizes that that's going to make the feminine go lower. So masculine instead's going like, you're great. You are great. Like they're giving them affirmations so that they don't accidentally like literally like positive affirmations so that they don't point out like this is why, because the energy affects everybody. Okay. Now, for masculine and feminine energy right now that is trying to come into partnership, this could almost be the same thing right now, which is masculine effectively having to say to feminine that's feeling this feeling of the feminine's feeling a little like guilty, we're seeing, about some of the fact of seeing the masculine having to create so much like immediate upset potentially around them right now as they move into partnership. But this is the masculine saying like, don't be upset. Don't be upset. This is something that's healing. I'm healing something. I'm fixing something for you. I'm not losing something. I'm fixing something that needed to be fixed. For the other part of the masculine energy and feminine, if you're moving back into separation, this is the feminine not seeing the masculine take those points of activation. This is the feminine saying, he's not going to do it. This is literally the feminine waiting to see if the masculine will do that, not seeing it happen. Feminine immediately saying, I need to heal from this immediately. This is a final act of confirmation for feminine saying, this is not the direction for me. This is not the manifestation for me. This energy is not going to heal, so I'm making the choice in separation to heal for myself. Feminine energy that's been in separation, this is a continuation of that journey. This is the reaffirmation right now for feminine energy that has just recently energetically cut the cords on some of this past energy. That again, it's that recycling of the script right now. What did we say? We've been calling it like the suturing of the wound, if you will. This is feminine energy, even if they feel called back to some of that energy saying, I did everything I could to heal it. I did everything I could to heal it. I did everything I could to heal it. It's almost like, again, I'm going to describe this. What's interesting, it's not so much a cord cutting, so much as it's now healing the wound from the karmic energy. And every time it rises up right now, this is feminine doing more, going, I did everything I could to heal it. I did everything I could to heal it. This isn't my karma anymore. This isn't my karma anymore. My hands are clean. I did everything I could to fix it. And that's how the feminine is healing this right now in separation. That's why feminine is moving away from it so quickly right now and not letting themselves get caught on it right now. Because feminine feels, I did everything I could to fix it. And going back to it, I knew what was going to happen. All right. So this is either the feminine going, I did everything I could to fix it. Or this is a new feminine energy coming into separation right now that's going, I did everything I could to fix it. And then I didn't listen to myself and I tried to fix it some more and it still didn't fix it. This is feminine almost again, doubly affirming to themselves, like I really, really did everything to fix it. I am healing this. I just need to heal this. I just need to heal this. That's how the feminine is just really just walking away from this right now. Masculine, you may realize that this is like crossing the Rubicon here. That's why this could be some ending of some cycles that's like there's no communication on them, because this is a masculine that almost realizes she's not going to want to speak to me. She wants me to do this. If I don't do these things, if I don't show her the ability to do these things, there's nothing else here. And it's a moment right now that could be feeling very difficult for masculine, because there's a moment of, again, effectively recognizing the value that this energy did heal you. They've healed you. You see something about yourself that you did not see before your connection with this energy, but you feel almost impossible to communicate with them, because the communication that would happen at this time feels so difficult, because it's almost saying like, you had a profound impact on me, but I can't move forward into partnership with you right now. Continuing to get clarification. And masculine being like, and masculine feeling like they're doing this to heal. Clarification coming through right now in our High Priestess in its reversal. And our 8 of Wands. Very, very interesting. Woo! As all the cards hit the floor. And there is another card on the floor, which we're going to pull because it came up face up. So we've got this card here. 8 of Pentacles in combination right now. Wow. We love to see these cards today. 3 of Wands. When I said I done, as all the cards fly. So what are we seeing right now? For energy, in union and in partnership, this profoundly productive day. Profoundly productive day in partnership. And in fact, it's going to feel like, again, I need to stress, a lot of the feminine energy right now that's in partnership, the hardest thing about today is you're going to be getting a lot of stuff done, but feeling a lot of imposter syndrome as you do it. This is almost a feminine energy that recognizes they need to get out of their own headspace, because this is literally a feminine energy that is questioning themselves as they get a ton of done. Like as you're getting everything done, there's a feminine going, I don't know if I can get all this done. Like you're literally getting everything done and you're going, I don't know if I'm really great at this. And masculine is potentially looking at you today, feminine, if you're in this modality, and being like, you're nuts. But like in a loving way, because it's almost the masculine being like, why are you questioning yourself right now? Because look at these cards. This is like, emails flying, phone calls being had, stuff getting done, planning happening. And feminine, here's feminine going, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can do this. And masculine's just looking at feminine today in partnership being like, you're a lunatic. But almost like, and like the only way that the masculine would say that to a feminine right now, by being like, do you see? This is how the masculine's getting her out of this modality, being like, do you see everything that you're doing right now? How can you think about like that to yourself right now? How could you even think for a second that you don't have this under control? Because you do. You're just doing a lot. This is almost a masculine saying you're questioning yourself, not because you don't have an ability to do it. It's that you're trying to do everything. That's why masculine is trying to help the feminine take some stuff off their plate right now. Feminine, in partnership, you're probably hearing this from your masculine. You're getting that pep talk. But they're also pointing out to you that the reason you feel like this is because you're trying to do everything. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is trying to move into partnership or deepening the partnership commitment over the last few days. This is that moment of masculine saying again, I'm very happy to have done these things. Feminine's almost questioning and saying, I didn't want to make you do those things. And this is masculine again, much like the energy in partnership, reassuring the feminine that is doubting themselves, saying, I would do them in a heartbeat. I don't mind doing these things. I don't think that they're negatives anymore. I think that they're positives because it's clearing a path for us. This wasn't me shutting things down. This was me clearing a path for us so that we can move forward together. Masculine that is in separation right now. Again, this is a feminine that asked you to do something. You guys had a plan. There was something that needed to occur to be able to move into deeper partnership. This is that moment. And this is what's so difficult for the masculine right now. This is a moment that you feel in separation that you're doing the things that you need to do, but they may not necessarily be the things that you told feminine that you were going to do. This is almost a masculine that has taken this, and instead of moving closer to the feminine, it is recalled through a healing energy for them, but it's coming at the cost of that connection. It's coming at the cost of realizing what they effectively said that they would want to move towards right now. And then suddenly in that moment of having to move towards it, almost reaffirming to themselves what they actually want to move towards. And so for the masculine in this vibration, it's going to be very painful right now, because there's a moment right now that you can't necessarily express or amplify to the feminine in this modality what is occurring. Because more than anything, what we see here for a lot of this masculine is this is a path of separating from an energy now that doesn't feel like it's in alignment with what it is that you truly are seeking right now, to be able to move towards something with conviction, or someone with conviction that you truly desire to, having learned lessons. Feminine, if you're in separation right now, if you've just moved into separation, you know this is happening. You know that there's something here that you have effectively reached your endpoint on, because there's not just the fact that you may have given the masculine energy a second chance here. There's almost something here that you effectively knew that this was going to happen. You already had this predicated, that something about this energy wasn't ready to make these changes. And now is a moment that I'm getting that you're not even sparing a second thought to it. The only thing that's occurring is you're mad at yourself for doubting your own intuition on something. And you're throwing yourself you're rushing right back away from this energy. You're saying, I'm not wasting another minute here. I'm not even communicating. There might be some communication and being like, we're done, that's it, I'm out. And you're just immediately turning your attention to something new. You're immediately leaving yourself open to new offers, new opportunities, because this is a moment where it's like you're so frustrated at your own self for giving this energy another chance. It's like you don't want to necessarily waste another moment, is what I'm seeing. For the other part of the energy right now, the feminine energy that's been in separation for a longer period of time, this is again, apologies. This is again a moment where we're seeing that feminine was doubting themselves. But feminine is healing their own path right now by coming into a space or state where you're effectively reaffirming to yourself and saying, I'm moving in the right direction. And whatever you're feeling the connection point to was not leading to this path point. It was not leading to that path point. This is the feminine energy, again, effectively going through the same pattern as the feminine energy in separation right now, wherein we are identifying and recognizing that the energy is coming into a space or a place where the feminine energy is effectively saying, I'm not losing anything here. I haven't lost anything. I haven't found what I'm looking for. The feminine is looking at a point of observation in a masculine that they're seeing the manifestation goal was not going to arrive in. That is why the feminine energy is just healing it, suturing it up real quick, moving on, just with immediate tenacity, because feminine energy is keeping very focused on what it is that they were truly seeking. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Wands in combination with our Six of Wands in combination with our Nine of Cups. May I please have one card to clarify? Death card in its reversal. We love this. Okay, now for masculine and feminine energy right now that is in partnership, what we're really identifying right now is a moment that we are seeing that, again, what is the message that the masculine and the feminine are working through right now? And I'm seeing here to a certain extent that the masculine may be trying to help the feminine energy recognize this. Feminine energy may be acting in a way right now where it's almost like they're trying to like reach some kind of goal. Masculine energy in partnership right now may be effectively trying to articulate and amplify to the feminine the fact that there is no goal, that this isn't necessarily a race that's going to be run and then you're going to reach that point and be like, everything's great now, we can just relax. This is almost the masculine saying like, that point's never going to come. We have to make it right here. For masculine and feminine right now, in partnership, it's more about not necessarily having any huge changes. It's almost about making something persist. Making something last is the gift of the divine partnership. It's not a race. It's not trying to run somewhere. It's just enjoying where you are. That's the beauty of it. And for masculine, there may be something that is being amplified to the feminine right now about being able to, again, build that point of appreciation in what you have at this moment. Because the feminine right now, what are we seeing that's happening right now in partnership? Feminine energy is focusing so hard on the missing manifestation goals for themselves that they're doubting themselves. Masculine is trying to remind feminine a good manifestation goal is not a manifestation goal that you set into the future. It's one that you try to embody in the present. It's one that you just try to live. And by living in a moment where you build that robust appreciation for where you find yourself in this moment, you don't need to rush ahead to anything. Because there's nothing there's nothing to run ahead to. It's just appreciating that sense of gratitude in what you have right now and wanting to make it last is the beauty of the circumstance or situation. That is the value. Okay? Masculine and feminine are trying to like work through this. Masculine may have to amplify this a bit more to feminine today because feminine's being very hard on themselves, even in divine union and partnership. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into partnership, right? That is coming into partnership right now. We are effectively seeing that you are having a bit of this work here and it's feeling like this is the shift. Because what we're effectively seeing right now is this is going to be a little different here, because for the masculine and feminine energy that is just coming into divine union and partnership right now, this is that moment about identifying what is stopping you from coming into divine union, right? Masculine just had to make a lot of changes in their own life to be able to implement the possibility of divine union. Masculine is still recognizing that this is an energy of feminine, that while they may have been seeing the fact that masculine is tangibly putting in that effort, it's not perfect yet, right? There may even be a feeling right now of the feminine holding off or staying a little bit more guarded around the masculine right now because the feminine's still a little anxious about whether this is going to persist. This is the masculine energy effectively trying to amplify to the feminine that they're taking these points of action because they are committed to what they're building. And that again, they don't see what they're giving up right now as a loss because they recognize that they were stopping the ability to transform the partnership into a divine union scenario. Feminine, that you're moving into partnership right now, you are also recognizing this. This is almost the masculine trying to convince you right now and say, you should not feel badly about this. You shouldn't doubt yourself. You shouldn't doubt what you asked me to do. This is me effectively reminding you that you were right, that those things were going to block us from being able to move into what we want to move into right now. And I'm willing to make those changes for the sake of the partnership on the whole. Feminine and masculine that are in separation, this is the opposite experience, because we're seeing here that there's a masculine that, and this is why we are seeing these are going into separation that feels like, again, not necessarily even separation, but completion of the cycles. Because what we're seeing here is this is a feminine that is feeling the double frustration if this is a new separation of a masculine that said that they would do something, that assured the feminine that they would make these changes for the sake of the partnership, and did not fulfill the promise. Move back into the old habits. Move back into the ability of not necessarily making the decisions for the partnership itself, but moving more autonomously. Feminine energy in this moment, if this is why feminine's just walking away from something and not looking back. This is a feminine looking at something and saying there's zero possibility. There is zero possibility of this coming through. This energy has no ability to change. Feminine that's been in separation right now, this is why feminine in separation right now, that's been in separation for some time, is accepting new offers and opportunities. This is potentially even a feminine energy that, like, for the cycle of like the last 9 months or so, left themselves open to the past energy coming back and showing some ability to heal. And this is a feminine energy saying, I'm done with that. That energy had ample time, ample opportunity to prove to me that they could change. They have not changed in the time that was permitted. This is feminine energy saying, I'm done. I'm moving towards spaces and places where feminine is potentially already seeing a lot of active interest and feeling like some success is on the horizon. Masculine that is in separation right now, this is feeling incredibly bittersweet, because this is effectively, if you are in separation right now, masculine, we almost see that this is a separation scenario where you are letting someone down. You are disappointing someone, potentially even someone that you've had kind of a long-going circumstance or situation with. But this is a moment that, again, you're doing so because you yourself recognize that what it would require to move into a deepened commitment is not something that you're willing to change right now, but instead that you feel that your true path and your true passion lies elsewhere, and that is the direction that you're moving into right now. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 9 of Cups in its reversal in combination with our Devil card in its reversal. Love to see these two cards together. One card, please. We have here 9 of Wands. Masculine and feminine energy in a lot of 9 cards today, a lot of 10 cards. I just got to point that out. Heavy energy on things either getting on the cusp of completion or things completing in totally today. We love this. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is in partnership. This is that moment of, again, just struggling through the healing process. What may be communicated right now for masculine and feminine is almost this point of saying, like, we don't need to rush. We don't need to go anywhere. We just need to work on how we feel in the day-to-day, because there's a point of observation in terms of recognizing the fact of making every day as positive as possible, letting the day itself be the confirmation that you're in a state or place of positivity. Because this is almost a moment that is basically saying in partnership right now that there's a point of observing that, like, it all is like what you put in is what you're going to get out. If you go into it and you feel like you're exhausted, then it's just like that exhaustion is going to like continue to like amplify. If you go in and you try to be content, then it's going to kind of amplify the contentment. And some of this, it does have to do with the mutual managing of points of overwhelm right now is the thing that needs to be healed. Moving more from a gratitude mindset instead of a lack mindset is going to effectively help in that scenario. It's just hard because there's a lot of anxiety at play as it relates to where some of that feeling of lack is coming from. This is almost like trying to find that sweet spot of contentment between circumstances that effectively feel or create this sense of anxiety versus the challenges that they create. So this could be a lot of practical situations outside of the partnership itself that are weighing down on the partnership. But this is also the observation of the energy as it relates to what you may be trying to amend right now as it relates to the long-term manifestation goals. That it's not necessarily trying to run yourself ragged to meet those goals, but finding the sweet spot of comfort between, again, not feeling overwhelmed, but not feeling caged in from a lack of having what you need to be able to enjoy the things that you want to enjoy the way that you want to enjoy them. Finding this sweet spot right now is almost what the divine partnership is doing right now and saying, what is that balance between work and play? What is that balance between leisure and obligation that is going to work for both of us right now? Because we do see here for masculine and feminine, this is taking a little bit of nuance to navigate. Masculine and feminine energy right now that's trying to come into partnership, you're just learning how to do this. You just joined this club. You're just now trying to figure out the fact that, again, it doesn't feel, there's still a point of hesitancy. Feminine is still feeling somewhat guarded from masculine, because this is a masculine that's finally showing this ability to make some changes in their own life that really make it so that feminine is actually a part of that life. And it came at masculine having to come into a space of disappointing some energy around them. This is masculine almost saying, again, don't worry about that. I want to do that. This is a healing situation for me. Don't feel guarded about it. And feminine almost articulating and feeling well, I am feeling a little guarded about it. It's not under the conditions that I would desire or aspire us to come into right now. Masculine is also feeling a little anxiety right now because they just made a lot of changes in their own life. And they're hoping that this is also something that is going to pan out. So that is this moment of mutual work as you set off on this journey together with this hope and this level of care that you're paying attention to, but all for the sake of mutual healing. Feminine energy right now, if you did not see a masculine come forward in this way, if this was a moment that masculine told you that they were going to take some point of action and now you're not seeing that action occur, or you're seeing that masculine energy getting more closed off or cagey to you, this is it. This is feminine energy just saying, I'm done. I'm done. There's nothing else. This is all she wrote. We're finished. I'm going immediately back into healing. And that's the thing. Feminine energy is literally just pulling away from masculine right now and saying, I need to heal from this. It was a mistake to open up to you. It was a mistake to be vulnerable. Feminine's blaming themselves. They're not even blaming the masculine. They're I'm blaming myself for trusting that this could move into something that is positive. Because feminine is recognizing, if they were trying to move into partnership right now, that this was something that they were already feeling doubts about. And the feminine is reconciling this almost immediately with themselves and saying, my mistake was letting myself believe them. My mistake was letting them in again. Masculine and masculine energy that is in separation right now. For feminine energy that's been in separation for a while, this is the feminine energy allowing new energy to come towards them right now because feminine has healed. This is the feminine energy coming into a space is I am ready right now. Feminine's feeling a little bit trepidatious. Feminine doesn't want to repeat the same mistakes. Feminine doesn't want to let the wrong energy in right now. But feminine energy is effectively recognizing that they're ready to move forward on something because they're recognizing that something from the past they feel has no possibility of healing. It's point of observation, and that point is coming through given the amount of time. This is feminine saying too much time has passed. There's almost no way the feminine energy could even see a possibility of this energy coming back in a positive way. That's why the feminine's continuing to heal from it. Now, masculine that's in separation right now. This is a moment that is creating a space or place of deep healing for you. But it is creating a moment of uncertainty. Why? Because masculine, you are learning. You just learned something about yourself from this experience. This is a moment that you may be realizing that you are not necessarily ready to invest in something at this time, But it's not that you didn't learn a great deal about yourself in the process. The problem around this right now is the fact that the situation is one that you can't even articulate why you're walking away from it. And it's difficult because it's almost like observing the fact that the energy that healed you, you are now hurting in the process. And this is almost creating a space that feels somewhat impossible because, again, it's almost articulating a level of healing that you realize you can't communicate to this energy. You can't communicate to them and say, like, I learned a lot from this. I'm not ready to commit to that capacity. I know I said I would, but I was wrong. Thank you for, and you identified it. You showed me that part, even when you said that I would do this. It's creating almost an impossible moment for masculine because it's like you're healing in like the most awkward, uncomfortable situation possible. It's almost looking at something and realizing like there's no way to get out. While feminine is washing their hands, this is almost masculine looking at something and being like, there's no way I come out of this with hands that look clean. It's more about trying to navigate as carefully as possible so that you don't cause any more damage as you go. This is like someone who's like walking through, this is like a bull who just like destroyed the china shop and is now tiptoeing through the china shop that they just destroyed, but they just realized that they destroyed, like trying not to like knock over like the remaining teacup as they do so. Now, and feminine, for their part, is literally almost like watching the masculine do it energetically and being like, you dope. Like, what did you, oh, you know, like, it's really like kind of that. Now, masculine, continuing to get clarification on these cards right now, between our devil in its reversal, 3 of Wands, 8 of Pentacles, and our 8 of Wands. 8, 9, 10 today, guys. 8, 9, 10, completion of the cycles. But I gotta say, completion of the cycles and very productive in the process. May I please get one card to clarify? Okay. It's these cards because these cards keep popping up and they're already upside down. So we're gonna read them because they want to come out. We've got here our 9 of Pentacles, more of the 9 energy. We got 3 of the 9 cards out right now, folks. 9 of Pentacles in combination with our Queen of Pentacles. This is the issue. This is the heart of the matter, okay? Feminine, even feminine right now that's in partnership, feminine needs to get through this. Feminine is recognizing their own ability of having doubts on their own sense of stability. Feminine is also potentially experiencing something around their sense of stability and partnership right now that has a little bit to do with their external environment. This is a feminine energy that may recognize that they have too much of an ability of putting that feeling of stability in outside external stimuli, in what's around them instead of what's within them. This is how feminine is going to come into this modality of trusting themselves right now, in remembering that contentment is not going to relate in what they're able to, where they live, what's around them. It's something that they need inside of themselves. Finding that inside of the self is where the feminine energy is going to heal some of this energy that's coming up right now that's making them doubt themselves. Feminine's trying to heal it by throwing themselves into things to try to get back some kind of reward that will prove to them externally that they're deserving of what they're creating. Masculine's almost saying, you don't need to do that. Feminine's almost going through this process of being like, yes, I do, because if I can't do that, I'm not worth much. You know, this is almost the feminine going through this, like, this is where the healing's coming from. This feminine is almost like learning right now and being like, oh, nothing I get is ever going to feel good enough if I keep doing that. If feminine keeps going into this space or state where they're just like, as long as when I get this, I'll be stable. When I get this, I'll be stable. Feminine's almost recognizing that is a road straight to displeasure, straight to unhappiness, because it's creating a sense of continual lack. Feminine needs to recalibrate right now by finding the stability in the moment instead of externalizing it in terms of like what they can receive or get that's going to make them feel that stability. Masculine, you may be feeling this to a certain extent, but again, a lot of this potentially could be coming from this point right now too of wanting to provide for feminine. This could almost be a feminine energy right now that you recognize in some way, shape, or form, like tries to like shun off having this like responsibility on leaning on you too heavily, you know? And this is almost for the masculine right now, trying to help amplify to the feminine and being like, you don't need to be so hyper focused on that. And feminine being like, yes, I do. Right? Of course I do. What are you talking about? But again, this is almost the masculine saying like, you know, there's a little bit of the trust issues that's happening right now, even for the energy that's in partnership with the feminine, in terms of the feminine energy pushing off right now on the masculine being like, everything's going to be okay. And feminine's like, that's what you're saying. Like, I don't know if I can trust that. Now, masculine and feminine, and masculine for your part, I have to stress, I think you're seeing this to a certain extent because again, this is potentially feminine energy that's unpacking a lot of trauma. And a lot of this trauma right now, even in partnership, may not necessarily, you're even recognizing, have so much to do with you, so much as the environment that the feminine energy is experienced in the past. Masculine and feminine coming into partnership, it does have to do with you. Everything I just said about this having nothing to do with you, erase that part. Because what we're effectively seeing is there's a point right now of the masculine being aware that all of the trepidation that they're experiencing right now on the part of the feminine has a lot to do with the masculine. And this is a masculine that, again, if you're in this modality right now, you're doing everything you can to try to amplify to the feminine energy that you see it, you recognize it, you are committed to fixing it. Everything you're doing right now, you are doing for the sake of the partnership because you're recognizing that something here needed to come into alignment. And again, it's almost like having to mess up a room to clean a room. It's not a bull in a china shop so much as masculine being like, I had to tear everything off the shelves so that we could like adjust this room correctly. Now it's our room. Now we're going to put it together. But it's also recognizing that there's still a lot of work to go from between there and here. That this is something about an ongoing committed and a commitment effort, and something about this moment is really trying to amplify to the feminine that you realize that you needed to make these changes. It's almost like a commitment of future committed effort to fix what needs to be fixed. Feminine, you are seeing this right now around the masculine. It may be feeling a little overwhelming at this time because what we're really identifying at this moment is a moment that, again, it's not that everything is perfect, but you're seeing the concerted effort of an energy that is really trying to show you that they understand, that they've learned, that they've gotten that lesson. The healing is coming immediately in the partnership, and that they're committing themselves to making these changes for your sake, for the sake of the partnership. And that is what is helping you, even at a moment that's kind of requiring all of your own effort and energy to try to be stable in it, because it's not the ideal situation or circumstance. Masculine and feminine in separation right now, this is the feminine not seeing that. This is a feminine of, again, seeing an energy that said they would do these things. Feminine's not seeing it. And feminine is saying it's never going to happen. This is a feminine, and I need to stress for a lot of the feminine energy right now, like this is almost a moment of feeling, again, that frustration and saying the mistake I made was believing that energy could change. This is a lot of that weight of the feminine, again, getting very hard on themselves in terms of trusting in energy again, if this is energy just going into separation, but almost immediately reaffirming and saying, I don't need it. I don't need it because it just, and this is almost appearing of frustration because this is a feminine saying, this energy comes in not because it actually wants to build with me, but to disrupt my own peace. That's the problem here. This is now feminine energy starting to turn and look at this energy right now, if this just occurred, and saying, not only should I not have trusted them, and I need to heal from this, but it's almost starting to feel the frustration of an energy that they now look at and say, why did they come back? Why did this energy come towards me? Was it just for the sake of not wanting to see me stable, of feeling like they needed to disturb my peace? And this is the moment that the feminine energy is healing from that, because there's almost an affirmation of optics and saying, like, regardless of what that energy was doing, for the feminine, it's literally looking at something and being like, it makes no sense. This is the feminine saying, why would they come back? Why would they come back? Why would they tell me that they could do these things if not to just disturb the peace? Masculine, if you're in separation and this just occurred, you recognize that this is probably exactly what the feminine is thinking at this time. This is almost a moment of being like, I realize I did that now. You may not have intended to do it. You may have had some moment that your intentions were pure at some point. But you're now recognizing, and you're potentially even feeling again the weight of the lesson that you just learned from this energy, and said, wow, I just didn't do anything but cause more chaos for that energy. I didn't come in and I came in, I told them I would bring something stable, and all I did was create further instability. And for masculine right now, there's almost something about weighing that right now that is feeling so difficult, because this is again a masculine that somehow has gotten some point of understanding of the self right now through this experience that has almost felt like an awakening moment in terms of really identifying where you want to put your energy at this time. But it's coming at a very high cost, because it feels like you effectively have truly irrevocably damaged some type of a relationship in the process. As I said, there's almost been like a Rubicon that's been crossed here that masculine is realizing may never be resolved or never be fully healed. Feminine, though, in this is almost immediately feminine that's been in separation for some time. This is more of that affirmation of looking at some energy right now and saying, and that's also why the feminine energy right now, if they're not in communication with some energy, has also healed this karmic energy that was unhealed, is because the feminine is almost looking at something right now and saying, given the time that's passed, if they don't come back, if they come back without some kind of actual offer, they're just here to disturb the peace. They're just here because they can't bear to see me. They can't bear to see the feminine being in a space or place of stability, of creating their own stability. They're just coming in to disrupt it. That's also why the feminine is staying so focused right now on just healing any of the unhealed karmic energy and focusing on the future going forward. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Death card in its reversal and our Nine of Wands. May I please have one card clarify? Clarification. We love seeing this bad girl up here. We've got here our Queen of Swords. Now, masculine and feminine energy, that is in partnership. What are we seeing that's happening? Let's articulate what we're seeing that's happening right now. We're seeing a feminine energy that's overwhelmed. A feminine energy that's overwhelmed, that's putting a lot of their own value on their success metric outside of themselves. Masculine is trying to slow feminine down here in partnership and saying, you don't need to do that. You need to start appreciating yourself more. You need to start recognizing how much you're doing instead of getting so hyper-focused on the results of those actions. Feminine is going through a moment right now where they're feeling, again, the frustration of feeling a lack of stability because of the overwhelm and some of the chaos around them. Masculine is effectively, again, trying to re-articulate to feminine and saying, I think that one of the things that you need to do right now for masculine is looking at feminine right now in partnership and saying, the only thing I see that you have a bad habit of doing is not keeping up your boundaries. Being too available to everyone, being too open to everyone, being not able to say no to things, being unable to say no to certain situations. Masculine is almost, again, trying to affirm feminine by saying that what needs to change, the only thing that needs to change here is feminine having better boundaries in relation to their time, their effort, their energy, how people make them feel, what they ask of them, and what they get back in return. Masculine saying here, this is the only problem that I see that you lack. This is the only thing that I think that you need to change here. And this is a masculine that's potentially trying to empower feminine right now in partnership and saying, I don't want you to feel like you can set the boundaries after the fact. You have to just set them before. That healthy boundaries, like good walls make good neighbors, healthy boundaries help us have a good partnership. Because when you are exhausted, when you are drained to this capacity, it does have a toll. It does take an impact on the energy around you. Feminine, you may be experiencing this right now from the masculine, and you may also be considering what they're telling you, because you are seeing the fact that for the feminine energy, this is almost the feminine recognizing a difficulty in saying no to things that aren't serving them. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is trying to come into partnership, this is effectively a moment where the masculine is trying to navigate around a feminine that is holding these boundaries. The problem right now that is happening with the masculine that is trying to come towards a feminine in this way is, again, the masculine is trying to do some things right now to heal something with the feminine as they try to come into union, and they recognize that the feminine is employing healthy boundaries, but also that these boundaries are a mixture of healthy boundaries that are coming from a point of hurt. This is a feminine energy. It's not just the fact that the masculine sees the boundaries that the feminine is learning to set right now. It's recognizing that they may be the source of them. That's why we see that this masculine is working so hard to try to affirm the feminine, that they recognize what they need to change going forward. Because this is a masculine energy that's trying to say to the feminine, I see how I've hurt you in the past. I'm not going to do that again. And I'm going to respect your boundaries in the process, which is the difference of the masculine navigating around a feminine, doing things from a point of autonomy that the feminine is then hurt by, versus taking something and putting it before a feminine if they want to do it, to make sure that the feminine is on board, to make sure that the feminine is coming from a state of comfort, as opposed to feeling like they found out after the fact, if you will. Feminine, you may be seeing a masculine that is almost affirming this to you. If you're moving into partnership right now, this is why the changes, because you're seeing here that there's something about the movement of the masculine that's calling forth the fact that they recognize that this blockage point in the partnership prior to this moment was doing things from a state of autonomy and effectively doing them in the present, telling you later so that you wouldn't effectively change anything, versus them being more upfront with you, moving in terms of meeting you where you are to ascertain your own comfort level, your own openness, so that you have full optics to be able to articulate or amplify what you are or are not comfortable with going forward. Feminine seeing this right now, it's confirming to you that there is change. Hence, while this is a slow process, you are continuing to move into partnership. Masculine and feminine separation, this is absolutely it. Because this is a feminine energy that's almost, again, immediately evolving right now as this occurs. Because this is a feminine energy that needed to see that change on the part of the masculine. This was a make or break moment. There was a point of openness. There was a point of decision. There was a point of masculine needing to act on this decision. There's a point of feminine saying, that's it. If you show me you can't do this, there is nothing left. Because now I wasn't trusting you before, and now you just affirmed that I shouldn't have trusted you. I don't think, and this is almost a feminine looking at a masculine and saying, like, it doesn't matter what you say. I don't believe you have the ability to do this. My job right now, the thing that the feminine is kicking themselves for, is saying, I need to have better boundaries as it relates to you, because I know you are not going to change. Feminine energy that is in partnership, that has been out of partnership for a long time right now. There's been separation for a long time. This is also why this karmic energy is getting healed right now. Because this is a feminine energy that even if this energy were to come towards the feminine at this time, it's not the fact that the feminine would feel at this point that this is a masculine that's changed. This is a feminine that would have their guard up, have these boundaries there to effectively have to say to the masculine, why are you back? Why did it take so long? What is this? because this is a feminine energy, that it's not just the fact that the boundaries were formed. The boundaries came from a long amount of time waiting. And now this is a feminine that is feeling that point of stepping forward, stepping into their power, moving towards what it is that they're seeking again, and just affirming, I'm not waiting for anything anymore. I'm just having healthier boundaries as I go forward from this point. Masculine in separation right now. This is a moment that I'm saying that a lot of the masculine energy that's moving into separation right now, you are recognizing that you may be creating an unhealed karmic energy as you do so, because this is a moment that this was a feminine energy that already had some type of trepidation towards you. There's something here that you recognize that you told them that you would change and you can't do it. And this is almost a masculine that's walking away from a feminine right now and saying, I get it. I wouldn't talk to me ever again either. I don't think this energy can ever forgive me for this. I wouldn't forgive myself for this. This is almost a masculine. Like I said, the lesson is coming through as it is occurring. And this is almost a masculine that is realizing that they have to walk away from something, but also realizing that their hands are not clean in the process. There's a lot of sadness and frustration and guilt the masculine may be feeling right now as they're learning a lesson in real time, that it feels like it's too late to protect an outside energy on, as they see just their own actions coming into fruition as someone articulated that they would. Feminine, at least, is coming through and saying, I'm done. Feminine's almost looking at it being like, I don't care. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Feminine's almost picking up on this as it's happening too. And almost feeling like the audacity of being like, I'm becoming a lesson in your story, aren't I? This isn't about us coming together. It's about me being a lesson. Continuing to get clarification between our Nine of Wands in its upright, our Nine of Pentacles in its reversal, and our Queen of Pentacles in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Woof. This is good. Okay, guys, we've got so much healing on the board. I gotta say, I know this looks like a cluster right now, but this is a very healing cluster. Thank you, Stevie, for the subscription. Because what we're seeing here, I gotta stress this, everybody's healing. What did I keep saying all week? The healing is coming regardless of where you are. Regardless of where you are in the cycle, post-eclipse, healing, it's like, bong, you're getting healed. It doesn't matter. The healing is coming through one way or another. It's just how it's getting healed right now is in some ways more frustrating than others. Okay. Masculine and feminine energy, okay, that is working right now in partnership. This is that moment that we're seeing that's creating this sense of healing in the partnership. There's something here that's getting beautifully healed. And a lot of it is coming from the feminine energy being in a space or place of feeling a level of acceptance in the partnership. The masculine energy in the partnership right now is just amplifying to feminine and trying to say to the feminine, you know, you are supported, you are seen, you are appreciated, you are valued. Feminine, a lot of this is coming from the internalized moment of feminine in partnership right now in divine union, saying, I don't provide enough, I don't do enough of this, I don't do enough of that. This is literally masculine that's just like continuing to say to feminine, yeah, you do. You're doing it right now. You're literally doing 5 things right now and you're telling me that you're not doing anything. You're just not seeing the results of the work that you're putting in. You're being too hard on yourself. This is masculine trying to get feminine into this point of seeing this ability of the feminine trying to externalize this too much, too heavily. Feminine, you're learning through this right now. This is almost a moment right now in divine union partnership where you're seeing your own ability and trying to potentially externalize your own value in what you're able to bring towards you versus realizing that you are the point of value, that you are in this space of kind of appreciating and grounding and centering yourself right now. And this is feminine having to dig through a lot of past wounds, almost having to look at a lot of situations that led them to believe this about themselves. Hence, the divine union is becoming a healing journey. Masculine, you may be seeing feminine energy in this expression right now, is also a healing journey for you. because this is almost a masculine energy in partnership right now that is seeing or observing an energy of a feminine that is doubting themselves, doubting their own ability. And it's almost the masculine wanting to give forth to the feminine and articulate to them in every way, shape, or form just how valued and cared about they are as they're trying to like move forward into this space or place, in recognizing that, again, the only hurdle the feminine has is when they start to doubt themselves. Masculine and feminine energy that's trying to come into partnership right now. This is the masculine trying to heal the damage. Masculine in partnership right now recognizes that a lot of this energy of feminine being this modality comes from past experiences. Masculine energy trying to come into partnership right now with feminine, or moving into partnership right now, is also assessing the fact that they are some of those past experiences. Masculine is almost recognizing to a certain extent that there may have been points in the past that they were part of the problem, not the solution. But masculine making these adjustments for feminine right now to make them feel more stable is the masculine trying to articulate to the feminine, saying, I see myself now. I see what I was doing to you. I see that I was effectively putting you in a space or place where I said we were together, but really you were on the outside looking in. This is a moment I'm trying to show you that I'm going to fix this, that we're going to be on the same side, i.e. moving into divine healing, union, i.e. healing. And it's going to take work. Masculine almost realizes to a certain extent that this is not going to be an overnight act. It's something that masculine is going to have to prove to the feminine every day. But this is masculine taking those steps right now, even to the point of making some points of disruption in their own life right now, to really validate to the feminine that they are going to be able to make these accommodations going forward. Feminine, you're seeing this right now for the energy trying to come towards you from partnership. It's not that things have been perfect in the past, and this energy has been a bit of the culprit. But this is an energy that is taking actions to really show you that they have learned that they're on that path of healing, and that they're very committed to healing this partnership to be able to move into divine union. Masculine and feminine that are in separation right now, this is the closing out of the cycle. Because what we're seeing here is there's a feminine. This is either a feminine that just recently went back into separation for a masculine that told them that they would make these changes, and has effectively shown them in some capacity that they're unable to do so. And this is a feminine that is effectively feeling the sense of healing, because while they may have been right about a situation, it's almost feeling the frustration of recognizing that there was an energy that they did not feel had the capacity to heal, that kind of convinced them that they would, and then was not able to rise to the challenge. And this is why the feminine is saying to themselves, I can't let this energy in anymore, because this energy just came in to disrupt whatever peace I had already found in separation. This is a feminine energy that's almost looking at someone and being like, you just came back to mess up all of the healing work I was trying to do. Never going to happen again. This is literally almost a feminine energy in separation. If this is just coming back into separation, of feminine saying like, fool you once, shame on you. Fool me twice. And that's it. That's why this is becoming an immediate healing situation for this feminine. For the other part of the feminine energy, if this has been a situation of time and distance, this is a feminine energy saying too much time has passed. It would almost require such a supreme amount of healing that feminine has lost any hope of energy coming back on this. Feminine is, again, just healing it for themselves. Waiting is taking too much away from the feminine, and just proceeding on their healing journey by opening themselves up to new possibilities, to new experiences. That is how the feminine is also healing. I told you, everybody's coming into healing right now. Masculine, this in separation right now, this is going to feel like a very, very difficult healing journey, because it is coming at the cost of another energy. You are almost seeing right now that you are hurting someone. You are recognizing that you are disrupting another energetic situation right now, because you don't have the ability to change, to move towards it. And this is feeling very bittersweet because, again, it is almost creating a moment where you are closing out a cycle, but you are affirming to yourself, you are recognizing that you need to do some kind of change here, that there's something that needs to come into correction, because you're seeing in a way how much damage has occurred in the wake of you coming into this healing. This potentially is almost like a way of saying, like, I'm going to find a way to make this up to them someday, somehow. Final cards for today's spread between our Queen of Swords in combination with our Three of Swords in its reversal. Final card. Oh, I love it. I love it. Look, guys, this was a very heavy reading today, but look what we're ending it on. Look at this. This is beautiful, okay? Masculine. Feminine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels aligned to. In partnership, okay? What we're effectively seeing right now is the fact that we are seeing that the partnership itself is an energy, and this is why the partnership's great. What are people doing in the partnership right now? What's the masculine energy doing in the partnership right now? The masculine energy's helping the feminine energy heal and learn to set healthy boundaries. That's what the masculine's doing right now in partnership, guys. Heads up. Masculine energy in healthy divine union partnerships, okay? They're giving the feminine the point of empowerment to helping them respect and set healthy boundaries. Feminine, you are recognizing a masculine that is supporting you in setting healthy boundaries. Because again, it is the point of masculine and feminine saying, we are in this together. I'm going to support you in whatever you choose to do. We're moving together. We just need to be very conscientious in terms of who and what we have around us as we do so. Again, this is masculine is almost, again, saying, I'm doing this for both of us. You need to do this for us. This is almost a masculine saying, like, you need to hold these healthy boundaries, not just for you, but for me, because we're a team. And so, like, that's how we protect each other, right? Feminine, you're appreciating that, and that's what's also getting you the strength right now to continue on your healing journey. Is that pep talk from masculine that's helping you on that way. Masculine and feminine energy that is working towards partnership right now, it is the moment that is feeling like a point of release, because for feminine right now, as difficult as the things that they may have observed the feminine was doing right now, feminine realizes it was an observation of masculine saying, I'm doing them for us. Because we're doing things together from this point going forward. I'm not going to do things around you. I'm going to tell you what's happening. I'm going to bring these forward. I'm showing you that you are not someone to be navigated around. You are someone that we operate as a team. Divine union. That's what's healing it. Masculine, you're recognizing it. It's bittersweet. Again, masculine, it's coming from a point of disappointment. You're recognizing that you've lost a bit of autonomy at this time, but what you're gaining, and this is why for the energy moving into divine union, it doesn't feel like a loss, it feels like a win, is that you're not alone in doing these things anymore. It's that you've got someone who's got your back. It's got someone here who is going to like support you as much as you support them. And this is why it is a healing journey for you, because you recognize right now that this isn't something that you are going into alone. You are doing something together. You're moving as a unified force. That is the partnership. That is the divine union that is being empowered here, that's also healing you in the process. Now, masculine and feminine that are trying to move into partnership right now, that is effectively what we're seeing. And it's going to take some time. Masculine realizes in a way that there's some healing that needs to happen here to really show this feminine that you can be trusted. But you're also feeling the fact that this is an energy that you want to move forward with in this capacity. Masculine and feminine that are in separation right now, it is the moment that, again, feminine energy, if this is a situation where a masculine said they were going to take some point of action to change something so that they come into alignment, and now the masculine's not doing it, feminine's done. Feminine's effectively just cutting the cord. Energetically, karmically, feminine saying this is over. And feminine saying, I'm doing this for myself. I'm going to manifest an energy that understands what it means to do things together instead of apart. Masculine, if you're in separation right now, this is a moment that you yourself are also experiencing this. For a lot of the masculine energy right now, I'm going to say it again, this isn't a moment that you are healing something, that you're effectively, intentionally, almost recognizing you're doing it at the moment of doing it. There's almost like a point of respect that you have as you're moving away from an energy right now, because again, I'm seeing here that there's a point of observation of some masculine being like, I would never talk to me either. I would never talk to me either. They need to cut me off because what I did deserves to be cut off. But masculine's almost saying like, I hope they heal. It's almost masculine sending the feminine energy, healing energy here in this moment, and saying, again, even as they're moving away from them at this time, they're doing so almost with a sense of saying like, it would be wrong. Like, this is what the masculine can't communicate to the feminine that's happening here. It would be wrong to continue forward with you in this capacity if my heart wasn't in it. And my heart isn't in it. But this is almost a masculine wanting to articulate to a feminine, but like, I deeply value and respect you in the process because you've given me the purpose that I know that I want to move towards right now. Which is very painful, but also very healing. I told you the healing's coming from every side right now. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now, the sun. Everybody is feeling some anxiety. Everyone is feeling some doubt and fear right now, okay? It is not the fact that that isn't present. It is how it is being carried right now. It is coming into that state or space of optimism. It's very hard energy right now, especially for feminine. Feminine's going through a really difficult moment right now. It's hard for the feminine because there's a lot of self-judgment that's occurring at this time. Feminine needs to kind of operate and remember that, especially when you're having these moments that feel like that sadness or that sense of loss comes through, it too shall pass. Just give it a moment. Imagine it like a cloud going over. Give yourself a space to like recognize that. Maintain that manifestation goal and just allow yourself to ground in it. I feel like that's going to be the best thing at this time. For masculine right now, this is a moment that we feel like there is this point of correction that's coming through. Especially for the energy of the masculine right now that's in separation, because this is a moment that masculine, you're almost seeing something that you're causing pain to as you're trying to release it. Being able to find the way that feels the most empathetic and caring right now is really going to be most important, because we almost see to a certain extent right now, it's not the fact that there isn't some energy that isn't going to feel some point of disappointment. Even the masculine and feminine energy in partnership right now feel like they need to like recalibrate to a certain point. It's all about like how to like effectively ease something and let it be in a space or place that feels like it is softening the blow. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and receiving these messages. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me on my website, you can book one. You can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber ID at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book that private reading, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for that reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never inbox you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your DMs and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I want to thank you guys so much for being here with me today and sharing with me in these readings. And we will do this again tomorrow. Guys,